Good evening, everyone. Everyone are hypoglycemic. I am going to discuss hypoglycemia and update 2019. Thank you very much, Dr. Arul Raj sir, Dr. Jyotirmay Paul, and Sibandu Ghosh, and everyone and each and everyone. And thank you, Chairperson, for his kind introduction. I am from Coimbatore. I am running 50-bedded multi-specialty hospital. I want to discuss hypoglycemia update. I am going to discuss evidence-based medicine as well as experience-based medicine and expert-based medicine. So I am going to discuss in these headings what is the definition of hypoglycemia and how will we classify and how will we management, what are the recommendations. This is the definition of hypoglycemia that is called Whipple's triad, that is presence of symptoms suggestive hypoglycemia, that is called autonomic symptoms, not adrenergic, both adrenergic as well as noradrenergic, adrenergic as well as acetylcholine manifestation will be there, and neuroglycopenic symptoms will be there. So in this slide, actually neurogenic or autonomic symptoms, it's very, very important. In type 2 diabetes mellitus or type 1 diabetes mellitus, sometimes it may be absent, most of them or may be absent in hypoglycemic unawareness patients. But definitely the sweating will be present. For all type 2, all diabetic patients, the neurogenic symptoms are at least sweating will be there. And many times in the office, there will be anger, agitation will be there. And neuroglycopenic symptoms, difficulty in speaking, difficulty in concentrating in works, and weakness, confusion, drowsiness, and the vision changes, and dizziness will be there. These are all the symptoms you should have. That is neurogenic symptom, neuroglycemic symptoms. And low blood glucose less than estimated blood glucose is less than 70 milligram per deciliter, which will be respond to carbohydrate load. All three things, if it is present, the diagnostic of hypoglycemia, this is Whipple triad. So after that, this is the Whipple triad to diagnose hypoglycemia. And classification of hypoglycemia nowadays, ADA 2018-19, what they are telling, level 1, 2, 3. Level 1 is blood glucose estimation less than 70 milligram per deciliter. Level 2 is less than 54 milligram per deciliter. Level 3 is a severe hypoglycemia associated with this altered mental status or altered physical status or both. So level 1 or level 2 or level 3. In what level the patient is there? So you have to diagnose hypoglycemia, and level you have to assess, and depends upon the severity, mild, moderate or severe. Mild, usually less than 70 milligram per deciliter, there will be neurogenic symptom will be there. Autonomic symptoms will be there. Moderate autonomic symptoms or neuroglycemic symptoms will be there. Patient is conscious. In severe, patient is altered sensorium will be there. Patient require assistance to treat. And plasma glucose invariably less than 54 milligram per deciliter. So what are the causes of or precipitating factors for the hypoglycemia? If you know diabetes, you are pandit in medicine. Nowadays, if you want to be a very good diabetologist, a general physician, if you are capable of preventing hypoglycemia as well as managing hyperglycemia, your practice will be enormously will be very good. So what are the causes or precipitating causes for hypoglycemia? Usually there is an imbalance between the drugs and the food and exercise. If there is an imbalance, you can get hyperglycemia as well as hypoglycemia. That is, so imbalance between the drug and diet and exercise. So if there is an imbalance, and the patient is having previous history of recurrent hypoglycemic unawareness and recurrent history of hypoglycemia, patient diabetes duration is prolonged diabetes and associated with autonomic dysfunction, and patient is having acute kidney injury or CKD or AKI on CKD, or the patient is associated with sepsis, severe sepsis, patient may get hypoglycemia. And the age group is preschool age, adolescent age group, and especially in the type 1 diabetic patients, more prone to develop hypoglycemia. And poorly intelligent, not adhering to your advice, And elderly individuals, hypoglycemia is very common. Pregnant individuals, hypoglycemia is very common. And associated with cognitive dysfunction. Cognitive dysfunction and hypoglycemia, there is directly proportionate. If recurrent history of hypoglycemia will result in cognitive dysfunction. So you have to address properly. So these are all the important things, and important drugs can precipitate hypoglycemia. When the patient type 2 diabetes mellitus on oral ADD plus insulin, when if the patient is having sepsis or respiratory tract infection or urinary tract infection, especially quinolones, even norfloxacin, ofloxacin, levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, anything can precipitate hypoglycemia because it will increases the insulin level. And another thing is mainly azithromycin, clarithromycin can precipitate hypoglycemia. Many times you are treating adequately with the 25% dextrose, still it's recurrent hypoglycemia. Patient is on levofloxacin or ofloxacin infusion for the sepsis. If you don't stop the ofloxacin, you cannot correct the hypoglycemia. So drug-induced hypoglycemia is very, very important. This is source. Where is the source? You have to control the source. In sepsis, you have to control the source. Like that, hypoglycemia precipitating source, it has to be identified properly, and it has to be addressed properly. And all the oral ADD or insulin can produce hypoglycemia. Especially insulin and sulfonylureas can precipitate hypoglycemia. And all drugs you can get. In my clinical practice, metformin also can produce mild form of hypoglycemia. And even other drinks, all other drugs, even AGAs also can produce hypoglycemia. But management is simple things. Simple carbohydrate, you have to give all the drugs. But especially AGAs, agorbose, you have to give only glucose, nothing else. So all the oral and ADD or insulin can produce hypoglycemia, but much more common in sulfonylurea or glinides and insulin. It's a moderate to severe hypoglycemia you are getting. In AAC 2019 guidelines also says, as far as possible, avoid hypoglycemia, avoid weight gain is the main theme to management of type 2 diabetes mellitus. So all drugs can produce hypoglycemia. So here hypoglycemia management protocol, how will you management? First you have to recognize high index of suspicion is very, very important. If there is an abnormal behavior, if there is a patient with type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes mellitus, altered sensorium, unless proved otherwise is hypoglycemia. You have to prove it. And patient is in altered sensorium and sweating. Unless proved otherwise, it's a hypoglycemia. You have to do the capillary blood glucose estimation properly, and you have to confirm it. Many times you are taking capillary blood glucose very half trough or quarter troughs. You are putting in the glucometer, you are getting 30, 40. You have to do the proper capillary blood glucose estimation. If it is right and less than 70 milligram, you have to treat. Depends upon the status, whether it's a conscious or unconscious, with IV access, without an IV access, with support, medical team support or without support. Depends upon that. You have to recognize, first suspect, and then you confirm the blood glucose and confirm hypoglycemia. After that, differentiate mild, moderate or severe. Depends upon that, the treatment is absolutely varies. And treat the hypoglycemia immediately, whether treatment with the oral carbohydrate, simple carbohydrate, or IV or IM injections. And after that, avoid over-treating. Avoid over-treating 25%, 2 points, 100 ml, two times. It may result in 450 milligram. So avoid over-treating hypoglycemia and avoid future hypoglycemia in future, how to manage. And after that, steps to address hypoglycemia, first recognize that is autonomic symptoms. The autonomic symptoms are neurogenic symptoms and neuroglycemic symptoms. Recognize and confirm it blood glucose and treat with the fast sugar, that is simple carbohydrate diet. Simple carbohydrate diet you have to give, and then it has to be given. It has to be given, and within 15 minutes you do the capillary blood glucose estimation. If it is more than 70, leave it. If it is less than 70, again you give the simple carbohydrate in a unconscious patient. And eat usual. After that, the blood sugar is normal. So further hypoglycemia has to be prevented by intake of complex carbohydrate diet as well as or snacks with protein. It has to be given to avoid future hypoglycemia. Simple carbohydrate diet. What all the common diet is available? 3 teaspoonful of sugar or 6 sugar cubes or 1 teaspoonful of honey you can give, or juice. In conscious patient only you have to give juice, otherwise aspiration pneumonia you can get it. So 150 ml of juice you can give, or 6 lifesavers he can give. All these things he can give. So this is conscious patient, mild hypoglycemia, moderate to severe hypoglycemia, and the patient is, there is no IV access. You have to give injection, glucagon, IM or subcutaneous injection. It is freely available. You have to advise them, the patient, those who are having recurrent hypoglycemia, and discuss with the diabetes healthcare team. And the patient who is having severe hypoglycemia, unconscious patient, IV access is available. Immediately you have to give 25% dextrose 100 ml. It has to be given in 1 to 3 minutes. And again you do 15 minutes. Scapulary blood glucose, still it is present. Again you start with 25% dextrose. If it is not available, you can give, that is 50 ml of 50% dextrose, or 250 ml of 10% dextrose, or 500 ml of 5% dextrose. Depends upon the condition. Many times type 2 diabetes is associated with volume overload. This patient 25% is the ideal drug. So this has to be given. Again 15 minutes you repeat the blood glucose, revert to normal. Then you have to give simple oral carbohydrate diet 15 gram. And after that you have to give carbohydrate, that is complex carbohydrate along with protein at the time of diagnosis. If it is in the morning food. If it is afternoon, lunch food, or dinner. Like that you have to give. It will prevent the future hypoglycemia. And treatment of severe hypoglycemia in conscious patient, treat with 20 gram of simple carbohydrate and retest 15. Same protocol you have to follow. What is the guidelines in ADA 2019 or standard of care, diabetes care in standard of medical care in diabetes 2018? What it says? Individuals with recurrent hypoglycemia, always type 2 diabetes mellitus or type 1 diabetes mellitus, you have to ask symptomatic hypoglycemia or asymptomatic hypoglycemia. You have to take the history and act accordingly. And glucagon, all the things already I have enumerated in detail. You have to do the SMPG. If the patient history of hypoglycemia, ask the patient to do SMPG. Which food you have to modify depends upon the SMPG. 8 readings, you have to modify your regimen as well as diet regimen you have to modify, and meal snacks has to be given properly to avoid future hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia recommended glucagon. Glucagon is no more, it's a health care provider injection. It has to be given to the patient and healthcare. In the family members, you have to teach everybody, as well as in the school educator. In the school also, it has to be given in the type 1 diabetes patients. So school caretaker, all caretaker you should give. In the office also it should be there. And you should educate where is the glucagon, where it is kept, how to put, everything should be taught to the healthcare provider or assistants. So it is no more a healthcare provider injection. It should be given in the public. It should be taught to the public, and you should act appropriately. And hypoglycemia unawareness, if there is one history of hypoglycemic unawareness, you have to re-evaluate your regimens, all the regimens, previous oral anti-diabetic drug or insulin regimen. It has to be modified, especially insulin has to be reduced, or especially sulfonylurea dosage has to be modified according to your SMPG. And hypoglycemia recommendation wise, usually once hypoglycemic unawareness is there, so after that, previously your target is 7, and fasting is less than 100, postprandial less than 160. Now the patient is having hypoglycemia unawareness. Once you have to increase the target, 7.5, 120, 200, like that you increase the target. Then only the patient will feel the adrenogenic, that is autonomic symptoms. After that, they will not get to feel the autonomic symptom. You have to increase the target. Then only the patient can able to feel, and further hypoglycemic unawareness will be prevented. And ongoing assessment of cognitive function is very, very important in hypoglycemic patient. Cognitive dysfunction is recurrently, the patient is having decline in cognitive dysfunction. suspect hypoglycemia, recurrent hypoglycemia, you have to modify it properly. And especially the hypoglycemic individual, type 1 diabetes mellitus patient, if there is hypoglycemic, repeated hypoglycemic unawareness is there, subject them for continuous glucose monitoring, and that is pancreatic transplantation, islet transplantation you have to advise. Another important thing is profound hypoglycemia. In my clinical experience for the past 20 years, I have encountered 10 patients with profound hypoglycemia. What do you mean by profound hypoglycemia? Hypoglycemia lasting for more than 12 hours, which is not recognized. Patient is coming after 12 hours, this is profound hypoglycemia. You are putting them on 25% dextrose, for within 1 to 3 minutes, patient is not recovering. Still the blood glucose is normal, but patient is not recovering. What do you suspect? So precipitating cause has to be addressed, and source control should be addressed properly. So you have to maintain the glucose between 70 to 150, and you have to give the continuous dextrose infusion continuously. Patient may require 2 to 3 days to recover from the altered sensorium. Severe agitation will be there. You have to tie up the patient. You have to manage in the ICU 2 to 3 days. After that, only patient will recover. During that period, profound hypoglycemia sometimes may be associated with hypokalemic periodic paralysis. It also has to be addressed. Sometimes profound hypoglycemia, patient may be having acute coronary syndrome. Profound hypoglycemia, patient may be associated with that is structural brain damage may be there. So you have to do CT scan brain, plain or contrast or both, and treat accordingly. In especially elder, that's a pediatric age group, if the patient is having associated cerebral edema, you have to add mannitol also. In off-found, that is off-label indication is recurrent profound prolonged hypoglycemia. Off-label indication is injection decatron you have to give. And you have to stimulate the MND receptor agonist. You have to give amantadine. You have to give amantadine also, and amantadine and cerebrolysin, Admenta. All this will stimulate the brain, and fast recovery will be there. And many hypoglycemic patients, in my senior has told, we have diagnosed profound hypoglycemia in the cremation ground. Patient is died, some movement is there, just see the patient, just cremation ground, he can able to diagnose a profound hypoglycemia, give 25% patient will awake. So profound hypoglycemia can be diagnosed in the cremation ground also, which is improperly declared death. So this is very important. You have to suspect, and you have to wait for 2 to 3 days and you have to treat properly. And prevention of hypoglycemia, how will you prevent hypoglycemia? Target should be proper.
Dr. Palaniappan, please continue.
2 minutes only, sir. Target should be proper, and IIT therapy, insulin infusion therapy, intensive control. VATT studies told it's harmful. Intensive glycemic control is harmful. Other ACCORD study as well as advanced study also, no benefit. And UKPD study alone, it says non-significant reduction of CVD. But type 1 diabetes mellitus patient, it reduces the cardiovascular death. And you have to be less stringent in various situations, elderly individual, and not having the proper attenders and associated comorbidities, and life expectancy is low. You have to be less stringent, even 8% A1C, fasting 140, postponing even more than 200, some situation. So how to prevent hypoglycemia? So according to that is ADA and EASD 2018 guidelines also says, so you have to avoid hypoglycemia. You have to select the drug according to that. To reduce the hypoglycemia, the drug of choice in India is a DPP-4 inhibitor or SGLT2 inhibitor or GLP-1 receptor agonist or T2 or glitazones to avoid hypoglycemia. And AAC 2019 guidelines also says avoid hypoglycemia, avoid hypoglycemia. And when the patient is on insulin, you have to adhere to the particular, this is the protocol in 2019 guidelines wise. This type of A1 depends upon the A1C, the dosage, and you have to titrate accordingly. More than 180, 20% you have to add TDD. That is 140 to 180, 10%. 110 to 139 plus 1. Less than 70, 10 to 20% TDD has to be reduced. Less than 50, you have to reduce 20 to 40%. This regimen, you have to follow it properly when the patient is on either basal insulin or basal bolus insulin or biphasic insulin. If you treat properly, no hypoglycemia. So you have to treat properly. And perioperatively also during the surgery, when the patient is missing, perioperatively you can get hyperglycemia as well as hypoglycemia. When the target is achieved with the previous drugs, for want of energy, you have to give dextrose. If you want to give 10% dextrose, 5% dextrose, 500 ml, you will get the energy as well as you have to add 8 units of insulin. Or 250 milligram of 10% dextrose, add 8 units. This is the regimen has to be followed to get a proper euglycemic state as well as to prevent hypoglycemia. And the various complications, sudden death. The last month my uncle died. The proper diet is very important. Proper diet. During the hypoglycemia, whatever the patient wants the diet, please give the diet. Don't stick on to the diet. So elderly individual, they know the diet. So my uncle died in the ICU, AK and CKD. Patient want kanji like that. The patient is asking. So you are having acute kidney injury, CKD. Kanji will not be given. You should not take. Like that they have refused. Nurses refused. Suddenly patient developed atrial fibrillation, ventricular fibrillation, ventricle tachycardia, ventricular sudden arrest. Even after resuscitation, patient, we cannot able to improve. So sudden cardiac death, atrial fibrillation, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular arrhythmia can kill the patient. And profound hypoglycemia damage the brain. Cortical injury, brainstem is resistant to glucose. So brainstem is spared. Usually profound hypoglycemia will result in cerebrocortical necrosis. And various forms, there's insulin pumps are available. Repeated hypoglycemia unawareness, pumps are available. So to conclude my talk, all diabetic patients, alter sensorium unless proved otherwise is hypoglycemia, and record the blood glucose and treat accordingly unless otherwise proved. High index of suspicion and treat appropriately and not over treat the hypoglycemia. Source removal is very, very important. Important clinical. Many ICU patients, they are neglecting patients on ofloxacin, levofloxacin, on appropriate culture sensitivity. Still hypoglycemia, recurrent hypoglycemia. If you don't stop the quinolones, the recurrent hypoglycemia will not be treated. And associated acute coronary syndrome also, profuse sweating in type 2 diabetes mellitus patient, sustained hypoglycemia, associated acute coronary syndrome, as well as many times acid dyspepsia, ureteric colic also can produce profound sweating. Dysphoria you can get. The high index of suspicion is very important. Sweating, altered sensorium. You always do CT scan brain to rule out structural brain damage. And profound hypoglycemia you have to suspect. And this is the last 1 minute case, actually, for the PG student. The fasting blood glucose is 214, postprandial glucose is 240, A1C is 7.28, BP is 180 by 100. Patient is on oral anti-hyperglycemic therapy, sulfonylurea glycoside, 80 mg, 1.5 tablet BID, biphasic insulin, 15 units in the morning, 30 units in the evening, and patient hypertension, the BP is 180 by 100, patient is on chlorothalidone 12.5 mg and telmisartan 80 mg. How will he manage this patient? It's a $1 million question for the PG, postgraduate student. How will he manage this patient? How will he manage? Do you want to increase the dosage of morning and night insulin? Fasting is 214. Do you want to increase the bedtime insulin? Do you want to increase the anti-hypertension therapy this individual? Postprandial is 240. Fasting is 214. A1C is 7.28. BP is 180 by 100. How will he titrate?
Sir, please conclude.
That's all. This patient, immediately you should not take you have to take the history. This patient, he has forgotten the bedtime insulin, 13 units was not given for the previous day. And smartly morning, the patient had 15 units. Because of, he has skipped the insulin in the bedtime, the blood sugar is 214. So 214 immediately will increase the dosage, patient will end up in hypoglycemic death, you can get it. And BP is 180 by 100. Do you take the antihypertensive regularly? Yes, sir, I am taking regularly. Do you have taken yesterday? No, sir. Last 1 week, I am not on. I have forgotten to take the antihypertensive drug therapy. Sometimes 1 drug, 2 drugs, bedtime insulin or morning insulin, they will skip. So the proper history take is very, very important. So to conclude my talk, hypoglycemia and hypotension is much more dangerous than hyperglycemia and hypertension. Thank you very much for the patiently listening.
Thank you, Dr. Palaniyappan, for your excellent revision of the diabetic hypoglycemia.
Sorry, sir,
Probably lack of time, you haven't covered the non-diabetic hypoglycemia like insulinemia and necidioblastosis. And more important nowadays is the post-bariatric surgery hypoglycemia.
May I